Well, thank you all again so much for being here. As you can see, we have a unified command leadership across the board who is present for this press conference, updating the public and our visitors relative to Tropical Storm Francine that is on her way. We're monitoring this tropical storm, as you know, very closely. We've been doing so over the weekend, but have definitely had a mayor's briefing on this afternoon, 1 p.m. Officially formed, we know Francine did in the southwestern section of the Gulf of Mexico. Expected to make landfall along our coast Wednesday evening as a Category 1 hurricane. We're urging all residents and all of our visitors to take precaution and to prepare. Prepare for heavy rain, gusty winds, and isolated tornado activity. This is what we have been told this afternoon. Heavy rain, wind, and isolated tornadoes potentially. Impacts, we've been told, will start on Tuesday evening and last until Thursday morning. Rainfall expected to be 4 to 6 inches, and of course some localized area flooding we could see. Coordinating, of course, with all of our partners, both local, state, and federal, as well as our partners relative to our hospitality and tourism industry. We know that we have, of course, visitors in the city of New Orleans. Now, again, is the time to finalize your storm plans and to prepare, not only for your families, also looking out for your neighbors. As we know, New Orleans, we know all too well, our first responders tend to be our residents, meaning our neighbors, your neighbors. So know who they are, know what their needs are, and work collectively, again, to protect one another. Prepare to shelter in place. That's what we're going to be doing. Again, preparing to shelter in place. Got to go back to being a good neighbor, checking on one another, particularly our elderly, which we know always tend to show up as our most vulnerable population of people in our city. You're going to hear from other leaders after me that will give you more information, but we always want to encourage our residents as well as our visitors to text NOLA READY, all one word, to 77295 to get real-time updates from the city of New Orleans. We're standing up our NORD rec centers. You're going to hear more about that. And of course, we're working with our partners relative to Solar for All, as well as our community lighthouses that the city of New Orleans has invested in, again, with our partners around the city. The good news is that we've invested. And also the good news, because we've invested, we're going to be able to see those lighthouses in our community in key areas, meeting our people where they are in the city. We know the future and sustainability of New Orleans, again, depends on all of us in terms of how we adapt to climate that has already changed. We're going to be making sandbags available. You'll hear more from this, and working with all of our partners on the New Orleans City Council relative to distribution sites. So at this time, I would like to call up my Director of Homeland Security, Colin Arnold, and you'll hear from more leaders after Colin. Come forth, please.
Afternoon, everybody. The Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness is monitoring this system. Tropical Storm Francine, recently upgraded this morning, has the potential to become a Category 1 hurricane, is what we're hearing at this point. We always kind of plan ahead that, you go one level above. We do believe that this is a shelter-in-place scenario storm, and that for the, the public, they should be pay a lot of attention to this. Enact their plan for a shelter-in-place, lower-level indirect hit from a tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane. It appears it will be coming into the west of us at this point. We'll obviously be monitoring the forecast to see if there has been some east movement overnight and into today. But the models seem to be in pretty much agreement that we are looking at potentially rain, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches over the entire event. So that would be basically, from say now until Thursday evening. But I think that Wednesday and Thursday are going to be the days that are going to be most impactful for our city and for our area, and that people should really consider Wednesday and Thursday staying home, staying indoors, staying off the roads. We do plan to close city government on Wednesday and Thursday. Schools plan to close on Wednesday and Thursday. I think you're just going to see, and I think we would encourage that other businesses and relevant, companies and things in the city do the same thing. Another, as the mayor mentioned, is minor to moderate coastal flooding. That does not include areas inside the hurricane and storm damage risk reduction system, the levee system. This would be important for our neighbors and residents that live out in Venetian Isles, Lake Catherine, and Irish Bayou. We have been speaking with the Flood Protection Authority East Bank, and they are not closing some of those higher sill gates, including the lakefront, including out there on Chef Highway and out 90. We did take that into consideration, being the bridges being down over Chef Pass. But at this point, it appears that you will have free traffic through there. I think people out in those areas should exercise caution, but what we were seeing was 2 to 4 feet of coastal flooding. That's not outside. That's not concerning for us. We see that out there during some wind events, just any time of year. Again, isolated tornado activity is always possible in these types of events, so that's something that we want to make sure everybody pays attention to. And strong winds, 39 to 54 miles an hour, maybe even some higher gusts. One of the things that we're seeing about this and that we've asked about is that this is moving. It's a little slow right now, but as it gathers steam and moves up towards us here in the northwestern Gulf, or northeastern Gulf, I'm sorry, it's going to move pretty fast, and we anticipate this is going to move through the area relatively quickly. They're not seeing signs of any kind of stalling. With that, we may start getting some outer bands tomorrow night. So my encouragement for the public is, as step 2, one is enacting your plan. Step 2, finish gathering your supplies today and tomorrow. We think you've got a pretty good opportunity of window to get what you need, just to make sure you're good through Thursday or Friday, tonight and moving into tomorrow during the day. We have just initially, because this is obviously a dynamic situation, reached out to the council. They've been a great help to us in the past with distribution of the material for sandbags. We are going to work on having that tomorrow at some point during the afternoon, probably from around noon to 4. Don't quote me on it just yet. We will make sure and pump that out, but we're going to work with our council members in the districts to find the best location to drop the sand. It will be, come in and get your sandbags. There'll be a limit, probably 5. Usually we do 5 to 6 sandbags per carload. And you can come and do that to either protect your property, protect your front door, and the like. So more will come on that. And then finally, as the mayor talked about as well, it's really important at this point that you stay connected. And you can do that by signing up for NOLA Ready alerts. You can either do it online at ready.nola.gov, where you can also find out about preparedness tips for hurricanes and flooding and all those things that we work year-round to work on here in the city. And then you can also sign up by text short code by texting NOLA Ready, one word, to 77295. If you'd like those alerts in Spanish, you can text ESP to 77295 and receive those alerts in Spanish. A lot of what we'll be putting out there will be reposts from the National Weather Service as these warnings and watches come out. We are under a tropical storm watch right now for the area, and also a storm surge watch for the area. But again, I would say that does not include areas inside the levee system. With that, please follow us on social media at NOLA Ready, and just stay connected. Consider Wednesday and Thursday days to stay home, get your supplies together, and we're going to see on the other side of this, and everything's going to be fine. So we've got a great team working here. With that, I'll turn it over to Nathaniel Fields, who is our Director of Homeless Services and Strategies.
Thank you. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, everyone. We have all of our outreach team out right now on standby. We have a strategy to be able to move individuals from the streets to the shelters as needed. We are also doing coordinated efforts with the Office of Community Development and the Health Department to make sure folks have all their acute care needs taken care of. We're also working with SPCA to make sure that all animals who are going into the shelter locations are taken care of. NORD has also opened up additional sites for us to be able to start getting individuals into those locations starting at 4 p.m. on tomorrow. We will get additional resources through RTA to be able to help and encompass all of this that we need to do for tomorrow. And we're hoping that we can continue to reach out to all of our hospital partners to be able to help the individuals as well get to the shelter locations and be able to be safe during this tragic time period. But we believe that we have a plan to be able to help all the individuals that we're going to come in contact with. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nate, for that. And we have been in contact with our living facilities, nursing facilities, and the like. And so that will continue to move forward. Again, focusing on our most vulnerable population of people, no doubt about it. At this time, I would like to ask, I have New Orleans City Council members to come forth. You all can do so. And then I will have Chief Samaran come after you. So, Representative?
Thank you all. I'm only here to announce where the sandbagging will happen for District B, and that will be at the Dryads YMCA. So Dryads YMCA starting around 11 o'clock, going till 3. I'll be there with some of my staff. I believe Councilmember Morell's staff will be there with us as well. So come pick up your sandbags. We will be there. The other thing I'd like to say is to make sure that you, as the mayor said, check on your neighbors, make sure they're safe, and also make sure that your pets are inside during this weather event. So thank you for all that.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. And we'll keep that going. Councilman Green?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and because of your team that you've put together along with the City Council, I'm very confident in our citizens' ability to adjust to what's going to happen during this week, during these coming days. I will announce later on this evening our sandbag locations, but we will be distributing sandbags. The only thing that I want to say is only because it hasn't been mentioned, and look, it may be mentioned by someone that's on their calendar. I just want to remind folks to use generators correctly, to keep them far enough away from your home and from your living space so that you're not affected by carbon dioxide. I also want to encourage our citizens to, and if Entergy was coming up, I do give deference to them to avoid any power lines that are down. Take it very seriously when you see a wire. And for our citizens to pray for the best, but prepare for the worst. Make sure that you've adjusted. Make sure that you have sufficient water. If you have a generator, that it's ready to go, that you have the gasoline that meets those needs. A lot of large cities, including Houston, their citizens weren't prepared for Hurricane Beryl as they should have been. New Orleanians are going to be prepared. We've experienced it often. But I just encourage us to pray for the best and just prepare as if the worst is going to happen. If the worst doesn't happen, then we'll be all better off because of it. And thank you, Madam Mayor, for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilman. And Councilman Thomas?
Well, first of all, thank you, Madam Mayor, and your team. We've been down this road many times before. Just a couple of observations based on experience, being on top of my house during Betsy, living in a shelter after that, being on the boats during Katrina, the only one here who was here every day. When Colin mentioned translation, that's extremely important. The first couple Officer Wilbert Theodore and I rescued was a Hispanic couple that was traveling, going home to Florida. When we got to them, they were trapped between the containers that had blown on the interstate and the water. By the time we got to them, the lady was 2 years pregnant. That's how pregnant she was. We had to rescue her and deliver her to the Superdome, Madam Mayor, where she had her baby. They didn't speak any English at all. So for the people in the news and the folk who are translation is extremely important. Looking at the models, whether it was Hurricane Pam/slash model or the old models that Nash Roberts used to use, the thing that concerns me about this, Chief, is the dirty side of the right front quadrant. If you're familiar with hurricanes, it's been predicted that if that side hits, it could potentially be the worst possible income in terms of where the water goes and how it affects our CBD in some of our most populated areas. But the good thing about this is that we don't need a new playbook. And the hope is that we take a look at those things that went right over the years, those things that went wrong. But I think it was LaToya Confucius who wrote that nature doesn't have to insist. She can pretty much do what she wants, so let's be prepared.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman. And when we talk about getting people the services that they need and in real time, I'm going to ask my Chief Samaran, Chief of EMS, to come forth, and then we're going to hear from Carl from 911-311 at this time. Chief Samaran?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. New Orleans EMS stands prepared for Francine. We take a lot of time every hurricane season to get our staff and resources ready, and those remain ready throughout the hurricane season. And right now, we're going to activate our tropical weather plan, and we'll have additional resources such as ambulances, high water units on duty throughout the duration of the storm. We ask that you take time now to be ready and stay tuned for important updates. There's a lot of resources out there for you to get information, whether that be a local news outlet or even the city. So please make sure you stay informed. Everyone should take time to do your precautions now, because we're going to be sheltering in place. So make sure you get everything ready, all of your supplies. Right now is the time to do that, especially if you're elderly, have medical problems, mobility issues, require electricity for medical devices, or need regular medical treatment such as dialysis. So before things start closing down, contact your medical provider and see what resources might be available for you, and make sure you get all that done before doctors' offices, hospitals, treatment centers close. Make sure you have that information now, so make sure you contact your medical providers to get that. I'm sure you'll hear from the fire department and others about using caution, especially with flooded roadways, debris down power lines. The leading cause of death in storms is storm surge and people driving through storm surge. So definitely, if you see a flooded roadway, an underpass, whatever it is, please do not try to drive through it. Those should be closed off, and if they're not, just use common sense and don't drive through it. Also use just use common sense with down power lines and so forth. Definitely be careful after the storm. If we are impacted in that way, be very, very careful with what you do. Also remember that New Orleans EMS does modify our response to calls for service during high winds, so help may be delayed if you have a lower acuity or non-emergency call. So please remember that. If you need help with a non-emergency need, please call 311 or the non-emergency number 504-821-2222. Please reserve 911 for emergencies only, for police, fire, and EMS emergencies at 911. Be sure to register for alerts, as you were already told, from NOLA Ready by texting NOLA Ready to 77295 or go to ready.nola.gov. We have a lot of resources available for you to get information and stay informed, so please do that. So let's get ready and all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. I'm going to ask our Executive Director of 911-311, OPCD. Thank you, Mr. Carr.
Thank you, ma'am. 911 has never been in a better place than it is today for being able to support our citizens. With the AT&T EZNet, with the Carbine cloud-based 911 telephony system, the odds of having any problems with it are slim to none, knock on wood, just to be sure. But the problems that existed during Ida when we lost 911 for almost 12 hours are no longer in existence. I will say, if you need to call 911, please stay on the line. If you accidentally call 911, stay on the line until one of my staff people talks to you. Your call will be answered in the order it was received. Also, if it's not a life-threatening emergency, if it doesn't require an immediate response, please call 311 or 504-821-2222. We want to reserve the 911 lines for those who need immediate assistance. Other than that, be careful who you trust for information. We have broadcast media, we have NOLA Ready, we have other reliable sources of information. I'm sure everyone's seen the assorted internet sites that pop up, trying to raise havoc, trying to raise panic. Don't trust them. Trust the same people you've been getting reliable information from through all the years. The city, NOLA Ready, our broadcast and print media, and their online presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, very much. And so now we know that we have a lot of infrastructure work, investments that are happening all around the city. And with that comes with us being not only prepared to button ourselves up and prepare for what comes our way. I'm going to ask Director of DPW to come forth. Rick Hathaway, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. DPW is on standby, preparing for the event. We have crews working today cleaning catch basins and drain pipe across the city. Sand will be delivered tomorrow at the designated sites, including the Dryads YMCA. DPW is working with our partners at the Department of Sanitation and the Department of Parks and Parkway, preparing for debris removal after the storm. Contractors, as you know, all across the city, we have construction sites that are active. They are presently working to secure their job sites, including the temporary traffic control, the materials, and equipment. I would also like to add that gutter buddies are used across the job sites in order to prevent debris and silt from entering the system. The gutter buddies or catch basin protection are designed to allow water to flow over the top of the product, and the lower portion prevents the debris and silt from entering the system. We'd like to keep these things in place, and we ask our residents to leave them where they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick, very much. And we're going to keep it going. I'm asking our General Superintendent of the Sewage and Water Board, New Orleans, Steve Nelson, please come forward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are prepared at the Sewage and Water Board to respond to this event. Personnel and equipment has been staged, backup generators, trucks, and other equipment has been fueled and will be ready for use. We also require 44 megawatts of power to power our 25 hertz pumps. We currently have 70 megawatts available, including power from turbines 4, turbine 5, turbine 6, all 5 of our EMDs, those are electromotive diesels, and our frequency changers. Turbine 5 is currently online and operating. Turbine 4 is available, as is turbine 6. 90 of our 99 major drainage pumps are also available. The status of those pumps, as well as power, can be viewed real-time at swbno.org, including the operation of our pump stations during the event in real time. If folks see a leak, if you see a water leak or have a sewer issue, please call 504-52-WATER. For issues with a catch basin, please continue to call 311. And if you observe flooded streets, please call 911. I would also ask that folks take the time, if our citizens can, to clear debris from the fronts of your catch basins in advance of the rain, as that will help water flow down the pipes and to our canals and pumps.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'm going to now turn to our partner, Deanna Rodriguez, President and CEO of Entergy New Orleans.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, and appreciate everybody here. I also want to thank our partners for preparing in advance. As we do, we drill with many of the partners here and are prepared. I want to stress and thank you, Councilmember Green, for mentioning safety is of utmost importance, not just for the customers, which is everybody in the New Orleans area, but also for our workers. So as the storm comes through, note that we cannot go out and send folks up in bucket trucks with any wind that is over 40 miles per hour. And Colin mentioned the level of wind that we're expecting. We have to wait, and we will be able to send out people as soon as possible. The other thing to note is generator safety. That was also mentioned. Often people are harmed not because of the storm itself, but because they misuse or mishandle the generators. That's very important that people keep that in mind. And then we also ask that if you have an outage, let us know. We encourage everyone to download the Entergy app on your cell phone. Keep your cell phones charged. You can use the app to report outages and check on the status of power at your home or business. You can visit our Storm Center online at www.entergynewsroom.com and /Storm Center. Again, please stay safe. Our lives, and that means everyone as part of the city depend on how we react to a storm. We will all be careful, and we hope that you do too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we know that we definitely are stronger together, and I thank everyone for being here, but leaning in to ensure that not only we're prepared, that we're making sure that the city, our residents and visitors are as well. With that, I want to ask Kelly Schultz to come forward she's the Communications Director for New Orleans and Company. Please come.
Good afternoon. You all know how important our tourism industry is to our city. Our message to the visitors has been remain vigilant, keep an eye on the weather, but we have stressed that we are prepared. Everyone in this room, New Orleans and Company, we know how to handle situations like this. We are very well battle-tested and prepared, and they should take great comfort in that fact. We are also communicating to them that we do have about 25 groups in town this week, about 14,000 to 16,000 people overnight with us for the next 3 nights, and we have communicated to them that follow the advice of officials, shelter in place, check with their airline or their hotel should they have any changes. But the main message we want people to know is that we're prepared, we're going to be okay, and if you are bringing a convention or an event or planning a trip here for next week, next month, next year, you're going to be okay. Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Before we bring it to a close, anyone else, Chief, you want us to come on, because I've been reading your energy. Come on up here.
It actually was just that chair. It's the chair sitting in that chair, the energy reading. Just real quick, the New Orleans Fire Department is prepared and we're ready. And I didn't have much to say, but actually Councilmember Thomas talked about remembering the past and learning from the past and using it to prepare. One thing we want to remember when we talk about generators, like Energy said, carbon monoxide detectors, right? The laws have changed, right? We remember Hurricane Ida and the issues with carbon monoxide post-Hurricane Ida throughout the metro area. The state laws have changed. Everyone is required to have a carbon monoxide detector in their homes right now, but not everyone may have updated them yet. So if you have a portable generator, if you're thinking about picking up a portable generator, also pick up a battery-powered carbon monoxide smoke alarm or a hardwired, as the case may be in your home. But just keep that in mind as you're out there doing your preparations. Thank you.
No, thank you,
Madam
Chief.
Mayor.
So thank you all again very much. Please, you will get updated information, of course, from the City of New Orleans as we continue to take steps to prepare. The locations of sandbags, you'll get a full list. And thank you, Council Member. We know Dryads will be one of them, but many more to come, and particularly covering the East Bank as well as the West Bank. Look out for one another, no doubt about it. And that also means our pets in the community as well. With that, Mr. Terry?
Yes, ma'am, our press conference is concluded, and as I said, we will be back in touch with you on our next briefing. Any other further questions on Homeland Security, our owner will be available for those and myself. And with that, we will be back in touch with you with our next briefing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you again.